Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 6 Degrees of Associations. This has been an episode that I personally have been pretty excited about because our guest today was referred to us by David Peckinpah, and I've talked repeatedly about how my whole former life was in events and experiential marketing, so I love interviewing anyone from that industry. So I would love to welcome Jim Parker with Digitell. Welcome to 6 Degrees of Association today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and sharing the story that I've been so passionate about.
It's great. And Lucas, good to see you again.
Thank you, Aaron. I've been excited about this one as well. We got to sort of chat with Jim before this one, and tons of energy, lots of great ideas. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, why don't we dig right in and kick off? Because I think when we first met you, Jim, and you told us the story of how Digitell got founded and started in the industry, just such a cool and prescient, sort of innovative way of getting a start. Would you mind just sharing with our audience, how did Digitell start?
Well, I started in 1986, and we were recording conferences and selling them on cassettes. And as we progressed through that technology from cassettes to CDs to CD-ROMs, CD-ROMs gave us the ability to package an entire conference as one product. And that really was the exciting evolution because it was right before digital. And our clients came to us, it was really a time where everyone was trying to go green. So I was looking at a solution to eliminate that 3-inch syllabus book. And what I suggested to our clients is, well, I could build a platform where we could put your conference online in full multimedia. And then you could just give all of your attendees an access code, and they'd have unlimited access to a great resource. And so we did that, and I built our first platform, Pro Libraries, and we were really one of the first companies to have a conference online, and attendees were coming, and then we built e-commerce in, and those that didn't come wanted to buy, and we progressed through the early 2000s to where a client needed us to deliver the conference live. So we started live streaming and building that into our platform. And before you knew it, we were live streaming hundreds of events a year and providing access to the world in a really engaging format. And so I've kind of come from the, as they say, grassroots.
Right.
And I've been putting conferences online for 20 years.
I think that's amazing. And you did have a funny story. There was a T-shirt. Now, I can't remember what the T-shirt said, but I just, again, think shows like the timeline here, because all anyone's been discussing for the last 15 months is online virtual events. And here you are 20 years into this career, having done it for so long. Can you tell us the quick story about the T-shirt?
Yeah, so we had launched the platform in 2005 for new clients. Yeah. And my brother and I, Steve, we were trying to figure out how are we going to present virtual meetings. So we printed T-shirts, go virtual. And Steve and I walked around ASAE, and we wore those shirts for a couple of years, and people were like, what's virtual? What are you guys talking about? And at that point, Second Life was really big. Right. So we were doing a lot of, immersive learning applications, and it was just really, really fun. But to think, I got shirts that I wear now when I paint, and they say go virtual on them. I really wish I hadn't got paint all over them because I need them these days.
Yeah. I think
it's great.
Amazing.
It's come full circle.
It has. It's come full circle.
I'm curious. Oh, go ahead, Lucas.
I was going to say, it sounds like the push, hearing the story again, was a little bit of efficiency, a little bit of customer driven, a little bit of foresight of your own in seeing where it was going. What are some of the other factors that, sort of pushed you towards the go virtual?
I think it was when you go from analog to digital, think about it. I was duplicating cassettes, CDs, and CD-ROMs. That's an enormous limiter just in shipping costs to be able to get the education out there. The minute, and I didn't know this because I was way before iTunes, the minute I had a library of MP3 and MP4 files, and we started seeing people buying them from all over the world, and you could distribute a great keynote lecture attached to an email. Yeah. That was really the first aha moment. And then the second aha moment was in 2011 when we live streamed our first conference, and every person on said, "This is an incredible experience. I love learning with others." So as we were all building asynchronous products in the 1990s and 2000s, because we thought the holy grail was people want to do it on their own time, self-paced at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
The reality was people wanted to learn with others and be part of an event. So when we started live streaming, revenues went from 100,000 to 2 million for our customers. And that's when we realized this is real money, just like the NFL realized that in the 60s when they broadcast their television. So, I mean, there's so much opportunity coming ahead of us. This is the infancy. You know, we've only been able to live stream meetings technologically for just over 10 years because we didn't have bandwidth that would deliver an experience like we're having today.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you manage that with the, sorry, Lucas, but the interesting thing is like going through all those technological advances, and live streaming has been so popular the last 15 months. Just to bring us up to like current time real quick, and then I'd love to go back again. Now everyone's saying, oh, you have to have it on demand, but like that's counterintuitive to what you're saying, which is you've discovered, no, people really actually do like the live experience. How are you helping to get associations to truly buy into that live interaction?
Well, I mean, prior to COVID, it was really just, you know, working with forward-thinking organizations that realize we have a membership and then we have the world.
Right.
And you know, it's interesting, reasons for live streaming were all over the place, from, you know, the economy dropped in 2009, 10, and 11, to international travel got limited, to, you know, we need 10 people from our firm to go instead of just 2.
Right.
And there's just a, you know, 84% of online attendees have no interest in going to a physical event. They're type B people. They don't want to travel. They have children. They have sick parents. They have pets. They have life in 2021, but they want to be involved in your event and in the education. I mean, my favorite email I got was from an 84-year-old man in Argentina who wrote me an email and said, "I'm so grateful to the Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons for having your company live stream. I'm 84 with no ability to travel anymore. I've been to the meeting 50 years straight, and I was so excited to be able to be with my colleagues for the last 4 days."
How cool.
Wow.
That is why people need, not any other reason. Life is busy and the future is online. The world is online. How can you not want to deliver your organization's mission online? So
Yeah,
this is a blip in the long journey we're all on to where everything online will be live.
Yeah, that's great. Digitell seems to be 10 years ahead of the curve. And as you said, I think previously, it sort of accelerated things that I think were already happening. But what has changed at Digitell, if anything, or if you guys just continued on your same trajectory because you're already ahead?
Well, it was interesting. Our clients were on the same trajectory, so they all succeeded incredibly well this past year. We ran out of studios in our locations here in Western New York, and we had to pivot to a remote audience across the United States, and even we have people in Europe. Wow. And it's actually benefited us. We have redundancy, so obviously, you know, we could have big pipes here in the office, but we've developed techniques where we're running all of our events live. Our clients are having maximum engagement. And to me, the most fun is my Monday morning review. I get all the comments from the attendees. Yeah. And to see how many attendees are new time members and so excited to be a member of an organization that's running really high quality events. There's a difference between a Zoom and a produced event. And that difference is the difference to a conference in Vegas and one in maybe Topeka, Kansas or something. Sure. You know, I mean, it's just a different experience.
You'll have to give us some pointers on the series when we're done, Jim, like on how can we elevate this experience here. But I love what you're saying in every context, and that you're essentially lowering the bar for more members to come in to an association and knock down some of the walls where associations, I think in the past, have been hesitant. And what are some of those other barriers that you think have been knocked down by Digitell or COVID or anything?
Well, it's really interesting you bring that up, Lucas, because in 2011 and 12, when we started streaming, we would go to an association and say, we'd like you to bring somebody from all of your departments to our presentation, because the live stream has application for, of course, conferences, education department, new membership, international affairs, all of those, exhibit management. Every department should be influencing. And as you know, we had a silo issue. And breaking down those silos is making more robust and efficient. And of course, COVID has just exploded everything. And I know organizations are busy putting back the pieces. And one of the things they want to make sure they don't lose is that digital piece, because that is the piece that's going to drive your future members, the level of the education you distribute, matching people, your members to your exhibitor. I mean, value is being driven online.
And don't forget the revenue piece.
Exactly. Now, don't get me wrong, physical is huge. But I think a physical meeting is going to be spent more in conversations and discussions than sitting in a classroom listening for 50 minutes.
You guys also have an LMS component. Like how is Digitell changing the LMS in the future?
Well, I think the learning management used to be a course with activities throughout, and you could do it on your own. I think blended learning is giving us a lot of opportunity for live events within a course, micro learning, a lot really hot. So I think that there's a lot of that going on. And of course, there's still a lot of on demand. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a multi-pronged approach, but an organization can't leave out the digital, because there's a lot, I mean, 84% are not thinking of coming to your conference.
I'm so curious, when you said it's not just a Zoom, could you contextualize that for the audience? Because I do think that you're nailing something right there, which is most people, when they're thinking, especially when they've been forced into thinking about it the last 15 months into digital, they are thinking this screen, and they're not really knowing what kind of innovations are really out there in the experience of a digital event. Could you maybe give us an example or two of something just really cool that maybe people don't even know can happen in a digital experience?
Yeah, and it's really just the setup, and that we have people, producers and directors and speaker concierges, who are driving the event minute after minute. So I'll give you a perfect example. When you log into our event, our chat, questions, and resources button is open on the left, and we have an engagement officer. Good morning. Why doesn't everyone tell us where they're from? Well, in Zoom, I have to open up chat, and I can move it to the side, but it's not built as a way to facilitate conversation. It's a feature. We believe features need to be applied to really have value. You can't just have a feature sit there. So we'll ask softball questions. Where are you from? What facility do you work at? What do you hope to learn? Within seconds, that conversation's going along. And then that converts into the presenter. And then the presenter needs to be using polling. And how would you apply this learning lesson? And how might this not work in your facility? And more facilitated learning than just delivery. And with just little techniques and then quality. It has to work. And truthfully, simpler is better. So all the bells and whistles that people are building in, we just don't, life's too busy. We want to come in, we want to engage, we want to educate, and then we want to look forward to the next event. And that's why the online audience needs fed at least once a quarter, preferably once a month. Whereas a physical audience just knows, well, they're not going to run a physical meeting every month. So we are in the annual base, but the online audience, they are like television viewers, and they can't wait for the next Survivor. It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you nailed it. Like, sometimes less is more. You really want to get that person to where not only you want them to go, but where they want to go. And sometimes too much can be distracting.
Totally. And you need tech support. So it's like the person that's at the doorway at the convention center, and I walk in and a CVB person says, "Welcome to Memphis. Can I can I point you in the right direction? The online user needs that same support.
Right.
Yeah.
And believe me, when you give them support, they're the best customer.
Sure.
Because they're anxious about using, they're not all computer savvy like all the social media people that we see. A lot of us are back there going, okay, return and let's move on. And they're a little bit anxious about all these, and we don't do that. It's very straightforward. You've got 3 places, kind of the Google experience. Look at Google.
Yeah.
And they have one place to click, and that's kind of the philosophy we have.
Yeah.
That's it. We pulled on, we talked about just before we started recording, I asked you, is it more about learning? Is it more about relationship? And your answer was simply, it's both. And I think a lot of that idea of, you may not remember what was said in the event, but sort of the idea is you'll remember how the event made you feel. All of those relational type aspects to an event are really, really important.
Well, so Lucas, I mean, what we found when we were doing immersive learning is it has to be memorable. And so you need visualizations and you need wow factors to make it memorable. You don't need it sophisticated like you're stepping into an airplane cockpit. You just need it memorable. And a lot of our clients are doing entertainment, doing facilitated chats, lots of exciting things.
Yeah.
I mean, yoga. Heck, when we pivoted last March, I think every event we ran for the first 3 months had a yoga session.
I love it.
Some of them were goat yoga.
Yeah.
One of them had a goat yoga session. It was
love it.
I've not
Yeah,
been
it
to
was
one of
really
those, but I've
fun.
heard about them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you're making a good point though, because again, if people are sitting here listening to this and they're going, yeah, we've done the webinars. Yeah, we've done the Zoom calls. We're talking about something different, and we're talking about shifting your mindset around how you need to think about events. Like, you can't just say, oh, well, we'll just throw that digital. No, when you were doing a physical event, to your point, you had a concierge, you had someone who was leading them around, you had good facilitators, you had group facilitators. And
Yep.
some of the best events I've attended in the last 15 months have merely been because I remember when they did move me into a Zoom breakout room after I was watching some sort of keynote or something, there was someone there to facilitate. So there wasn't all these awkward faces going, okay, what do we do now? And they, which means that company took the time to put the expense out to say, no, we're going to create an experience that's maybe not replicating a live experience, but it's being the best digital experience it can be. And I think that's just really great that you guys pick up on that need.
And let's not forget that when you run a conference, you are creating let's just say 100 hours of education.
Right.
So that education has value for the next 12 months, if not beyond. Yeah. So we have phenomenal success with rebroadcasts. So you want to slice and dice your education. So like we run, the top 10 series, couldn't attend the physical event.
Right.
Join us for our virtual top 10. And what the top 10 lectures are. So you run that. And then you might take 6 sessions around one of the tracks and run a virtual conference for just administrators or just technicians, and using your conference as the basis to create 6 to 10 different products and offer them throughout the year. You will absolutely have more revenue on the product side than the expense side. I guarantee it 100%. Yeah. I mean, 100% of my clients are making money.
And there's a continuity to the engagement there, right? Your experience throughout the year all sort of ties into the same vein of content, experience, and everything else.
Yeah. So the first thing you want to make sure is you're recording all of your content. Yeah. And, we have clients that maybe an article will come up in the news and they'll browse their library and then take one of those sessions and say, here's an update on SARS or on mosquito, and they're running that content because it's relevant right now. And groups that don't record their content are sitting there going, well, we had a session on that. So you really want to start with recording your conference. And then the next thing you want to do is live stream one room and record the rest. Right. And if you were to do those 2 things, you would already exceed your costs. And then down month after month, I would suggest a sponsored rebroadcast so you can engage your exhibitors and give them exposure every month. And then you can run that once a month. And then you want to invite your physical audience always to attend free, because they're going to talk to the virtual audience about how awesome the conference is.
Yeah.
So
Right.
now you're driving 12 to 18% of new customers attending your conference from the virtual. And that's the cycle you want to take from now on. Take
Right.
your live audience and get them to hype up the virtual so that you convert that virtual and you create a perpetual cycle that is going to drive bigger and bigger meetings down the road, just like the
Yeah.
NFL. Half of the games are sold out because they're on television and
Right.
everybody knows how much fun it is.
That's
Right.
right. Now you nailed it. Hey, Jim, give us your 30 seconds of where we are in 10 years. What's it
Where
look
we
like?
are in 10 years is organizations will have a global audience of people that will be accessing their organization, and there'll be more value driven by organizations in 10 years than there's ever been before. And really, the role of an association, if you read their mission,
Yeah.
is exponentially becoming more important. And organizations that don't address that will die. Because the reality is 14% of your audience is coming to your physical meeting. There's 86% more people out there that you're neglecting and not engaging. And I think that it's all about live first and then on demand. When I was selling on demand, we had 9% of the audience. When I was selling virtual, we basically had 84% of the audience.
There
Wow.
you go. No
Yeah.
reason not to believe Jim Parker. I'd if I were you in association.
Go virtual in 2005. I mean, again, guys, this is like,
It's fun. It's fun to see where we're at.
yeah.
I mean, I'm real excited that this has been a boost. But I mean, look at just in a year, we're all on camera. I mean, really, it has taken and raised the bar. And
Yeah.
I think the reality is we're going to have more research, better worldwide communication in medicine. I mean, really, we're seeing the whole world move forward. And I hope people embrace these online strategies.
You need a new T-shirt that says, go live stream across
Yeah.
the world.
Exactly.
Might have to come up with something a little pithier than that, but yes, I like it. Something. Well, I loved like live websites. When you said that in our pre-call, it was like live websites. I can't wrap my head around it, but I think I know where you're going with that. And it's just, yeah. I mean, I think you're right. In 10 years, that's going to be the case. But I just can't. I'm like, what? How does that?
And let me just say, two people like yourselves are going to be in high demand.
Yeah.
Because you're the facilitator. When I come to the website, you're going to be the ones engaging me and saying, by the way, check out this latest program, and we're going to be watching content, and all of the website will just be the access of what we do outside. I mean, ESPN and those forward-thinking groups, they're the leaders of what the future is.
So cool.
Very cool.
Cool.
Well,
And
Jim,
scary.
we've started this part of the series called, we're just calling it Where You Work. And we had a pre-call you told us a little bit about, but I think our audience would really enjoy hearing, where's Digitell now that we've gone through this pandemic, and what's changed at your offices in terms of where people are working?
Well, we've changed completely. We were running our company out of Jamestown headquarters with a few remote employees, but obviously all of our events were being run here out of Jamestown.
Yeah.
When COVID hit, we decided we went remote. And as it turns out, we built amazing studios to send to 100 producers that we've trained, and all of our employees are now remote. And I'm happy to say, Lucas, that I feel that the morale is higher than it's ever been. I feel that people feel more connected. We're on Zoom every morning. I mean, don't get me wrong, our platform is good for one purpose, but Zoom is awesome for a lot of purposes. And being able to see everyone's faces and ask everyone how they're doing, and we're doing support things to help employees, but we're going to stay remote, and we're going to run Digitell, except for our shipping department. We're going to run it across the globe and continue to meet our clients' needs in that fashion.
That's great.
Awesome.
Love it.
I love it. Well, we'll wrap up with the final session or a question here. 6 Degrees of Associations. Again, we were so excited to hear about you from David Peckinpah. Who would you recommend that we speak to that our audience could really benefit from hearing from?
Well, I want to represent Celeste Tyrell. And Celeste is the Director of Online Learning and Innovation for Anthony J. Giannetti. And Celeste is a master at everything I've been saying. So we've been working with Celeste for 14 years. And she works, Anthony Giannetti is an association management company specializing in healthcare. And Celeste's job is to engage the memberships of the associations they represent. And she really has walked this journey with myself and my team in understanding how do you engage your audience. Celeste is a master at the data, so she knows when to run events, what time of the day, how to market to the different groups, how to repackage. You go to Celeste's American Nephrology Nurses Association, you go see their online resources. They've got hot topics, minute sessions. I mean, she has sliced and diced like a chef the content that they do at their camp. And you're going to love Celeste as a guest. She's just a wonderful, wonderful association executive.
Oh, awesome. I can't
Great.
wait. You know, knowing that she's in healthcare too is pretty interesting because that's a whole other industry that's trying to transition to digital and know all of that. So that's really cool that she might even be able to draw on that experience in both directions.
yeah.
So very
For
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
Well said.
Awesome. Jim, such a pleasure to speak with you. I love your energy and just your prognostication capabilities is really awesome to hear. Lucas, great to see you again. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really thrilled at what you're all doing. I mean, we really are trying to help meeting planners run better meetings and engage their organizations, and things like this are great. And by the way, podcasting and that is a huge component of an organization's year-round strategy. So this is just one more thing. You know, every association should have their own in-house studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well said.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.